In this video, we're going to be going over the ChartBuilder app from multitracks.com. But before we get into it, you want to make sure that you set up your profile from Multitracks. You should have gotten an email invitation from the church where you can input a password and then create that login. So make sure you do that before you try to get into the app. You can download the app, but it won't let you get any further than that. So make sure you do that. But what you want to do is go into the App Store and just type in ChartBuilder. And then you can see right here, this is what it looks like. Now, it might vary between Android and iPhone, but this is basically, as long as it says Multitracks or ChartBuilder, then you're in the right place. And then you can kind of get a little preview here. But like I said, it might vary a little bit between Android and iPhone. So I already downloaded it, but we're just gonna hit open. It'll take us straight in. So the first thing that happens is it's gonna default to this browse tab, and it'll say browse at the top, and you'll see a bunch of songs, a bunch of top artists, top albums, new releases, and then you'll have those sections up at the top as well with a search bar. So if there's ever a specific song that you wanna look for, you can come here, search for that song. You'll have access to the charts as well as the reference track or the album version of that song. So really cool feature if you ever want to just practice a random song and just kind of learn it or get ahead of anything that you might think we want to introduce. It's a really cool tool. But yeah, so even if we click on one here, it'll go straight to the charts. And then you can see there's a playhead at the bottom there. The other thing that we want to get into is the library. Now, this is actually where all of the purchased songs through Multitracks live, just in a little bit more organized catalog here, or essentially the library. So you can go between all the songs, any of the purchased songs, or anything that we've uploaded through the cloud, whether that's something that Multitracks doesn't have in their catalog. We would upload just by purchasing those tracks elsewhere and then downloading them into this, or if there's any songs that we have created ourselves, that would also go into here as well. So this is actually a little better representation of what is in the current rotation. So if you wanted to come here specifically and just go through any songs that are coming up that you might want to try something new, or just make sure you get a refresh on, this is a great spot for that. So now let's go into the meat of it. Moving on to set list. When you tap onto set list, it's going to show you upcoming set lists, and then you also have a tab for past set list. So what it's going to default to is the upcoming set list, and this will be pretty much the same reference as what you would see in like Planning Center, where anything that you're scheduled for, you will have that view in this window here. So I'm just going to tap on it, and it'll take me into a little bit more details where I can see what songs are scheduled. I can also see the sermon title. I'll be able to see the date. And then something else that's great is it'll actually calculate the duration of that set list as well. And then you have a people tab at the top, where same thing as like Planning Center, you can kind of see who the rest of the vocalists or who's on the team. And then if we just tap open set list, it'll just take us straight in, it'll load, and there you go, you're straight into the plans, which was the first song. There is a little pop-up here at the bottom that says guide cues are only available for the default arrangement, which is not a deal breaker. I'm sure they'll update this later on, but you'll still have the metronome. You'll still be able to hear the click with any of the tracks that we'll be playing. If I wanted to open up to a specific song, I can actually do that here by starting from this window, and instead of hitting open set list, I can just click on the last one. Great Are You Lord, it'll load, and then there you go, it takes me straight into the chart. Another thing that we can do here is, if you don't want to just navigate back to the set list window and then just keep clicking, something that would be really easy is just you can swipe left to right for previous, or right to left for the next song. So then if we move on to the right side of the screen, up at the top, we will see the key that the song is in, which is C. If you tap onto the key of the song at that top right-hand corner, you'll be able to actually change the key of the song that you are rehearsing. It's not going to affect anything on the church's end, It won't change the song. You won't have the ability to edit the set list at all, but you would be able to rehearse in different keys. If you're a vocalist and you wanted to feel what it was like to sing in a different key, maybe drop down a step or half a step, if it felt a little bit more comfortable, you would be able to do that. And the great thing is the player will actually also transpose that song for you, so you'll actually get a real-time feedback on if that's something you want to adjust or if it's fine as it is. The only caveat though is if we navigate back out, you see I changed it from E. If we go back, you'll see the original key, or the key that is scheduled, is in G. So if I go back to Great Are You Lord, it is still in E. So we'll just need to make sure that we switch it back to G if we are keeping that key and we're practicing for Sunday. So that's the only thing that I wish they kind of updated. Or now, if we were changing the key on the back end, and said, let's actually bring it up a step, it would automatically update for you and you wouldn't have to make that change manually. But if I'm a lead vocalist and I'm leading a specific song and it's just not feeling comfortable, I might practice in a different key. And then what I would do is say, hey, I'll reach out to the team lead and just say, I think we should change it to this just because it feels a little bit more comfortable and I'm not straining my voice. And then what would happen is that team lead would go back into the set list, update that key, and then for everyone, that new key would be populated and every track would be transposed. So that way you're rehearsing with the correct charts as well as the correct feedback from the media player also. So really good feature, but just something to note is if you change it and navigate out, it will keep the key that you changed it to instead of what was assigned for Sunday. And then this 3 little dots here, this ellipsis button here, which is annotations and chart preferences. You can go to chart preferences. And then this is really great where you can kind of customize the view of your charts. You'll be able to either select the chart type, which is chords and lyrics is the default, which is pretty much what a lot of musicians are used to. But you will have also access to a lyrics only view. So if I click on that, hit done, I can only see the lyrics. I don't have to worry about the chords taking up too much space. Or if I'm a musician and I don't really need the lyrics, I can go to chords only, hit done, and then it just gives me the chords for each section. And then you can also select the chord type for your view of any of the chords. So you can actually see chords themselves. This has the example of F sharp minor, or you can look at the numerals or numbers. So this is really great if you just want to memorize the chord progression more so than the actual chords themselves. You can toggle on song map. So if I turn it off and hit done, you see there was that line of sections up at the top that disappeared. So if I turn it back on, this just shows you where we are in the song, but also is a good gauge for the arrangement of the song. So if we are, doubling up a chorus or taking out some tags, maybe not going into a second or third verse, this is where you're going to be able to really dial in where we are in the song, as well as just knowing what we're going to be doing on any given Sunday. Really great tool. I always keep it on because it's just a great quick reference. And then like I just did before, you can actually select the first chorus like I just did, and it takes me straight to that section. Or if I wanted to go to the bridge, just like that, it takes you straight to it. So really awesome, super intuitive. And then intro just takes you back to the top. And then also you want to make sure just from the get-go, rehearsal mix player is highlighted, because this is where you're going to be rehearsing with for the foreseeable future, and I highly recommend that you do. And then on the side here you can see those MD notes where it gives you those suggestions of how the dynamics should be played. Now, something to note is we do have a song here called Living Water that was an original song that was recorded and imported into multi-tracks. Now, What we would have to do on our end is provide every single track layer or stem and import those. And so since we did not do that in this instance, you will see it says rehearsal mix unavailable. So you might need to, if this isn't updated, or if you notice that there is something missing in the set list on ChartBuilder, you might want to go back to Planning Center and just make sure that it's all on there. And then if something's missing on Planning Center, then we know something else is going on, something else might be wrong. But for the most part, everything should be loaded up and up to date, as well as sync to whatever arrangements we are going to be playing specifically. Once we're getting ready to practice and listen for our parts and just get into rehearsal, what we're gonna do is swipe up from this little bottom tab here. Let's go back to the original song so that way we can see everything and hear everything. So if I wanted to navigate to a specific section of the song, I can actually use the song map at the top and say, I want to go back to the first chorus. And you'll see it jumps at the bottom to the first chorus. And if there is a transition that I'm like, okay, I really want to try something on bass here, but I don't really like what is going on. Maybe I'm getting to that note a little slow, or maybe I just feel like it needs a little better line or transition. What I can do is actually go into the song, hit that section, jump to the chorus, and then hit on this infinite loop, and it'll only play that section of the song, so that way you can really nail down that transition or those notes. So again, really intuitive, great feature. Vocalists, you will have BGBs and choir. So if those are parts that are available in that song, this is where you can see it. Not every song is gonna have that, so we still might need to fill in some gaps there. But something that's great, say if I am gonna be on drums, I can tap drums, and then the waveform is actually gonna change to my part there. So if I hit play, let's go into a section that there's actually going to be something. So what this is going to be playing is the minus track, which is everything minus the stem that I'm on. So since I'm in percussion and drums, I'm going to be able to hear everything minus the drums. But if I tap this little fader tool, or this little fader button with the minus, it changes to a plus. So then I'm actually going to be listening to the stem itself. And that's available for any part, especially like bass, guitar. If I'm on EG1 and I can listen to my part, I can play and fill in that space there. Or if I, again, tap those fader tools there, I'll be able to listen to what they're playing exactly. So the best way to remember this is if you see the minus, that is called the minus track. So that's going to give you everything in the song except for that part. And then if you want to get out of this view, you can just grab that bar and swipe it down. Now, something else we want to look at too is if I want to practice while playing the music, what does that look like? So I can just slide that media player down and then hit play. What's going to happen is as the song plays out, it will actually advance with the song. It'll just keep time with where we are in the song, and I can just focus on the chords or the lyrics that I'm supposed to be doing. And that's pretty much it. So again, a super useful tool. Let's make sure that we have those multi-tracks profiles set up, so that way you can log into this app. You won't be able to use this app unless you log into it. So again, it's very important that you create that. If you didn't get an invite or you can't find it in your email, make sure to reach out and then we will be able to get that situated for you. And if you have any other questions, you can email back or leave a comment here. And I would be happy to answer any questions. So thanks for watching this, and I hope this will be a great tool for your rehearsal times.